This will be a brief overview of the new features in version 7 of Mastermind for Goldmine. I will introduce the new report launching dialog and show a few new features in the Create dialog. But the majority of this video covers the many new features within Excel 2007 and higher launchable from the 3 new ribbons or toolbars. Mastermind version 7 features a new launch dialog that shows a directory of saved reports with the option to create a new report, open a report by browsing in a Windows dialog, or show the 10 most recently used reports. The big improvement here is that you can manage your existing reports much more easily, and Mastermind remembers all the places you have saved workbooks, whether for your own use or for sharing with others. You can even sort reports between subfolders for easier access. The dialog to create new reports should look very familiar, but there have been a number of improvements in response to user requests. The most important are a set of new templates, some of which allow you to create reports that are specific to a single user and can now be locked to only show that one user's records. Also, in the field selection area, you can sort C1 and C2 fields, default and user-defined fields, together in alphabetical order, and select a Goldmine view to set the labels that show up in the dialog according to record type. And on the filtering side, you can now apply a Goldmine group from any user rather than just your own. And you can substitute any field for one of the key fields for pre-filtering. When you're inside of a report in Excel, you will now have 3 different toolbars called ribbons in Excel 2007 or higher. These ribbons add new functionality and make all of our Mastermind functions easier to find and use. The first ribbon shows up whenever you have a Mastermind workbook open. This toolbar is organized from left to right to parallel the process of creating and sharing a report. Refresh allows you to refresh either the selected pivot table or all pivot tables in the workbook. The next section helps you display and rearrange the report how you want it. Clone Worksheet copies the current worksheet so you can branch off without losing your current setup. Freeze Unfreeze allows you to scroll through the report without losing labels and headers off the top of the page. Optimize Columns resizes all the columns at once to fit your data. And Field List toggles the visibility of the pivot table field list on the right side of the screen. The Cleanup section allows you to remove clutter from the workbook or worksheet. You can delete all tabs labeled sheet number, which are typically drill-down sheets, or log sheets from Updater, or both with one click. Hide Unused Filters removes all the fields from the page area that are not being used to filter the report. They can be pulled back in one by one as needed from the pivot table field list. And Page Setup allows you to set up your printing preferences. Once the report is set up, the Deliver section helps you deploy the report for later use, either by yourself or by someone else. Security lets you lock down your report so that others can't make unauthorized changes, either to the report layout or to the definition of the data that gets pulled in. Share Report deploys the report to any Mastermind user's Goldmine taskbar for easy access. Snapshot creates a static copy of the worksheet, optionally in its own workbook, so you can archive or share reports with non-Mastermind users. Schedule Print sends the refreshed report to a printer automatically on a weekly or monthly schedule. In this final section, Open Report allows you to open another Mastermind report within the same instance of Excel, giving you the ability to easily transfer tabs and pivot tables across workbooks. This is typically used for creating dashboards. You can also access the user manual from here and see info about Goldmine and Mastermind. The Tools ribbon here on the Excel Pivot Table Tools tab offers some great tools for refining your pivot table without needing technical expertise. This ribbon appears only when a cell on a pivot table is selected. In the Active Report section, you can now add a field that's missing from your report without going back to Goldmine. The first button pulls in a field from any table that is already represented in the report. You can use this to add calculated fields as well at the query level, or delete fields from the report that you no longer need. If you're a more technical user, you can use Edit Query to modify the underlying query directly using MS Query. Show Stats gives you details about the currently selected field item, field, pivot table, and workbook. You can see, for example, when the data was last refreshed, or what the real name or formula is behind the selected report field. In the Active Field section, the Purge Inactive Items button removes all unused values from the field selection, so if there is a value that is no longer present in the data, it will no longer show up in that field selection either. Search Field Content finds and pulls together items within the field that contain whatever values you're looking for. So, for example, you might put the title field into the row area and use this to pull together all the various executive titles containing VP, Vice President, or CEO, or CFO, etc., to group your prospects by job function. This is a very powerful tool with lots of potential uses to dig valuable information out of your Goldmine data. If you have a filter set at the top of your page, Apply Filter Across Tabs will set that same filter on all of the tabs in the same workbook, provided they have the same field in the top or page area. Roll down and roll up allow you to hide detail or show more for whatever field you're on. This is a great end-user tool to interact with the report so it only shows exactly what's needed. And finally, Subtotal On-Off toggles subtotaling for the selected field. Roll up, roll down, together with the grouping in this next section, are really the essence of the interactiveness that Mastermind uniquely offers you as an end user. Grouping lets users aggregate similar items into higher-level groups, like pulling multiple states into one territory or multiple users into a reporting group. This lets you see all the activity or accounts that belong together in a single column or row, rather than work at the atomized level of individual items. Just select the items within a field and then group them. If you forget an item, you can add it later to an existing group. Or ungroup either a selected group or all groups for a selected field. New groups appear across all tabs in a workbook, so keep this in mind if you develop a workbook with many tabs. It's now easier to work with dates and numbers using the functions in our Date and Numeric Field sections. If you have dates stored in a character field in Goldmine, which is typical for fields in details or improperly set up user-defined fields, you can use the Text as Date button to create a date-only version of the field. You can do date range grouping and break down your dates into components like year, month, and quarter. We have new functions that allow you to group a date by fiscal year, by week, or by days from today for easy aging. Each of these creates a new standalone field that can be dragged into the report. The numeric field functions have parallel uses. A character field containing primarily numbers can be pulled in as numeric, then easily grouped accordingly. And now you can easily format all the numbers in an entire field with a single click, as currency, percent, with a thousands comma, and with increased or decreased decimal places. The final ribbon is the Mastermind Drill Down ribbon. This ribbon appears under Excel Table Tools when you've drilled down from a pivot table to create a drill down sheet. These functions help you interact directly back with Goldmine or format the drill down itself. Use the Goldmine Group function to create a Goldmine group from the records selected on the drill down sheet. Pop Record switches you over to Goldmine and displays the Goldmine account record you've selected in Excel. For reports containing pending or history activities, Edit Activity goes further and pops up the actual activity you clicked in Excel. Updater, our add-on for updating Goldmine from Excel, works the same as before, except that we now have 3 separate buttons for Launch, Finalize, and Undo in the ribbon. The final 2 buttons affect how a drill down sheet is displayed. Drill Preferences lets you control how the data is formatted and what happens when you drill to Goldmine. Sort Columns is another very popular new feature that lets you reorder the columns and save that new order for all future drill downs from the same pivot table. If you have any questions about what you saw in this video or would like to learn more about Mastermind for Goldmine, please call or email us using the contact information below, or visit our website at www.mastermind.net.